Representative Grove, are there tiers to the punishment in your legislation? I mean, if somebody, and heaven knows, I can't stand up here and say I've never done the same stupid thing twice, so, you know, hopefully you live and learn, but occasionally it does take a few whacks at it. But if there are multiple offenses by the same offender, does the law address that as you've written it?
It doesn't. It's mute on that, and that would go to the district attorney to see if he wants to escalate charges to anything higher, and that would be their consideration. We're really looking at those initial crimes to get them, make sure they have the understanding and the comprehension of it. What's interesting, the Third Circuit court case that came down basically a day after my bill was passed out of judiciary, they were mute on whether sexting was a felony offense, and that was a big thing, because that was actually in one of the documents. The ACLU and the Child Law Center actually brought up those issues, whether, you know, it's 3 or 4 pages was on that specifically. All they really, the Third Circuit Court said was the DAs have to charge and then send them into an educational. What the Wyoming DA did was, it was, I don't want to say, like 13 kids, 16 kids or something like that, got charged, or he basically said, you know, enter into this educational program or I'm going to charge you with a felony. 13 took it, the 3 girls didn't. And that was a really bad case, because out of those 3 girls, 2 of them were actually in clothing. You probably should have never charged them. 1 was topless, and in my bill, we're actually discussing sexually explicit. So a nude photograph with the disclaimer, maybe a girl sending it to a girl, wow, do I need a boob job? It's not going to warrant this threshold. And don't repeat that, because it's kind of like the seatbelt law, where, you know, it's a secondary offense. You're not going to get pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt, but everybody thinks you will, so keep thinking that. Be safe. It was really a bad case from the get-go, and really the DA was trying to be a nice guy. He did want to charge these kids. He knew it didn't warrant a felony offense, but that was his ability to do it. So the Third Court came down and said, you got to charge. So District Attorney Arnold has to charge now. We now have a federal standing. They were mute on it. Personally, by the committee moving it, and that case was in a very long time, those judges decided to do it a day after. And of course, judges are barred from lobbying the legislature. I think it was their motivation to say, you're on the right track. You got a good legislative remedy. Let's move forward, because they were mute on a lot of the issues that are discussed in this bill and that we're debating back and forth. So I think it was an important step. And as far as the educators, the Wyoming DA, the new DA, that guy was actually ousted. So clearly there were some issues up there in Wyoming County to begin with. But they're going back and looking at the actual teachers and administrators within the school district, because some of them sent pictures to their colleagues that shouldn't have seen it in the first place. So we really need to sit down and look at our education policies within our schools to ensure that, you know, if a teacher sees it, we go direct designation of individuals up the chain, so those pictures aren't getting out to wrong people. So really our educators and so forth really need to look at their internal policies to ensure their employees aren't getting caught up in this too, because there you're talking a minor to an adult. That's a felony offense. There is no way out of that one whatsoever. And also online gaming. There was a case where I think it was like 3 14-year-olds were playing like Modern Warfare, some military-style game, and you're with a unit. One of the guys they were playing with was a 30-year-old. They didn't realize it. He ended up sending them naked pictures of himself over the gaming system. With connectivity, there is no stopping and really not knowing who you're dealing with. So parents really need to be aware. Online gaming, computers, everything. You need to stay up to date with the technology. And if you're really worried, you know what? Get a cell phone and cancel all the texting and picture messaging out of it. You'd be surprised at the amount of parents that are actually starting to do those things, and know who your kids are playing online with. Make sure they give them a list of screen names and stuff so they know, so you know exactly who your kids are dealing with, because anybody can be anybody. Attorney Tom Corbett just arrested 6 guys for faking to be underage kids and really trying to take advantage of kids recently. So it's still going on out there, and we need to remain vigilant through education. Our local DA has been in our high schools, have been in our middle schools, have done a great job of explaining what it is, why it's wrong, and the kids really listen, because it's basically the guy that's going to arrest them for doing this. It resonates a lot better than the teachers or the kids saying there, oh God, not another educational program from our teachers. It's the guy that's going to arrest them. And that's how he starts off. He's like, if you do this, you're going to see me, and it's not going to be pleasant. So it really resonates with them. So I applaud the DAs and everybody else doing their educational due diligence.